places. Show us more than we've been given. Oh, can we try and help each other out? So la la let me be. La la let me be. La la let me be free. La la let me be. La la let me be. La la let me be free. To be free in this American dream. Oh, help me believe life is more than what we've been told, what we've been told, what we've been told, what we've been told. La la let me be. La la let me be. La la let me be free.
I feel so good today. Feeling lucky. What a lovely day. Woke up on a vibe, y'all. Got a brand new thing. Yeah, it's all going my way. My shoes got sold. Got a strut in my walk now. Got a pocket full of sun. Won't say it won't go down. I'm a winner, I can feel it in the city. Yeah, happy when I breathe it in it. Roll the dice for the 7, hit 11, hit a 7, hit 11 again. I'm all good. Got a 4-leaf clover. You cannot go wood. It's my lucky day. 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 'Cause I know today it's gonna go my way. I can see the sunshine through the rain. It's my lucky day. Na 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 na. Yesterday I got burned. Today I'm so tan. I was late to work. On a day my boss slept in. I got an overdraft. Till this morning I got paid. The devil can't stop me. I woke up feeling sad. I'm a roller on the table in the game. It's the all-time unbeatable head. Heavyweight in the ring. It's the creed. It's the all-time unbeatable head.
Good morning, RockPointe.
I'm
How
all
you guys doing this
good.
morning?
Got a 4-leaf clover. You cannot go.
How you guys doing this morning? Woo! You guys ready to worship? You guys want to stand and worship with us? That's in the house. Everything I was, everything close to the broken heart. Lord, even when I'm falling in mercy's arms. And you found me on my Damascus, and blinded me with your light. And you took me in, drowned my sin, and said, dead man come alive. And I left it in the water. Yeah, my yesterdays are history. I left it in the water. Like I went down dirty, but I came up clean. And left it in the I have been made whole. Watching over my soul. Glory, hallelujah. Let me signify all that you have done for me. Lord, I gotta justify. And I left it in the water. Yeah, my yesterdays are history. I left it in the water. Like I went down dirty, but I came out clean. I left it in the water. And I all right. Who tells the sun to rise every morning, colors the sky with the shades of his glory, marks us with mercy and love, Jesus does. He holds the orphan, comforts the widow, cries for injustice, feels every sorrow, carries the pain of his children, Jesus does.
All right, hello. Y'all go ahead and grab a seat. Good morning. My name is John Evans. I'm one of the pastors here on staff. Hey, hello everyone watching online. So glad that you joined us. Just enjoy today's service. I want to encourage you to just jump into the chats. Maybe tell us where you're tuning in from. If you have any questions, we've got people there to help answer those. Just put that there in the chats. Hello to everybody here in the room. Hey, I just want to share with you what to expect from today's service. If you've brought some kids with you, I just want to ensure you that just down these hallways, we've got leaders, we've got teams of people who have been planning and preparing to help them with jam-packed full of fun, crafts, ways to learn, games, and we have your family and those kids in mind. So, man, high five a leader when you're picking up your kids. Maybe you grabbed one of our cups of coffee from our amazing team handing that out. Man, we love those. We love those making the coffee on Sunday mornings. Grab a cup on the way out. High five them also. Man, they do a great job. If you haven't noticed, we like to turn the volume up in here, and so we've got complimentary headphones on the tables in the back for anybody that might need those. Also, if you get called out of service for a child or you have a child with you, just through our ladies' room, we've got a mother's room there for you, and you can catch everything happening in the room from right in there in that cozy room to take care of your kid. So, man, we've got a big service planned for everybody this morning. We are so excited about where we're headed this fall. We're going to hear all about that. But before we do, just want to encourage you online to sing out loud wherever you are. Let's stand back up together, and the band has a few more songs for you.
All right. Sometimes I fall to my knees and pray. Come, Jesus, come. Let today be the day. Sometimes I feel like I'm gonna break, but I'm holding on to a hope that won't fade. Come, Jesus, come. We've been waiting so long. we'll stand face to face. Hey. Come and lay it all down, 'cause it might be today. The time is right now. There's no need to wait. Your past will be washed in rivers of grace. Come, Jesus, come. We've been waiting so long for the day you return to heal every hurt and right every wrong. We need you right now. Come and turn this around. Deep down I know this world isn't home. Come, Jesus, come, Jesus, come, Jesus, come, Jesus, just one move with my arms stretched wide. I will worship you. So I throw up my hands and praise you again and again. 'Cause all that I have is a hallelujah. Hallelujah. And I know it's not much, I've nothing else fit for a king except for a heart singing hallelujah. So come on, my soul, oh, don't you get shy on me. Lift up your come on, my soul. Oh, don't you get shy on me. Lift up your soul. 'Cause you've got a lion inside your lungs. Get up and praise the Lord. One more time. Come on, my soul. Oh, don't you get shy on me. Lift up your song. 'Cause you've got a lion inside of those lungs. Get up and praise the Lord. So I throw in my hands and praise you again and again. 'Cause all that I have is a hallelujah. I know it's not much, but I've nothing else fit for a king. Except for a heart singing Amen. Why don't you guys have a seat and watch this?
It is a great day to be here. I'm really glad that you're here. Hey, let me just start by telling all of you, thank you so much for praying for our team as we were in Puerto Rico a week ago. It was so great, such a great experience. And look, we have already booked another trip for next year. And so if you watch that and was like, I think I could do that, we do too. And you can talk to some of the team members out in the lobby. There's a table out there. You kind of can't miss it. Look for the big Puerto Rican flag in your lobby. So I'm glad that you're here. Liberty Hill, we're so glad to have you along this morning as well. I'm glad that you're there. And then, of course, everybody watching online, thanks for joining us today. So today is a great day. In fact, I think today's a cool day to be here. And I'm just so glad that you're joining us, however you're joining us today. I think even if this is your first time with us, I think today is a day that if I were in your shoes and I was coming into a church for a very first time, just checking it out, or maybe I'm deciding to explore my faith, or maybe I'm just asking some questions. Is there anything here for me? If I were in your shoes doing that, and it was the first time I had ever watched, the first time I had ever walked in physically into the building, today is what I would hope that every church would do on my first Sunday that I showed up, if I just showed up to check it out. So if you're our guest this morning, I don't know that it could be any more perfect than it is today, because what I would want to know is, if I was in your shoes, is what this church is really all about. And if I chose that I was going to continue to hang out in this church, I'd want to know where the church was going. And so today is just that. In fact, we're calling it Vision Sunday. And what it is I want to tell you what's happening, where we're going, and let me tell you why I want to do that, why that's important. And it's not just so that you'll know. I mean, it's good to be in the know, but, we know a lot of things we don't ever do anything with. So it's not just so you'll know, have some information, because that really doesn't help us at all. I want to tell you where we're going very specifically this fall so that you can go and have the best chance to make an impact in your world, the world that's around you, your circle that you run in. And so to get us going, I want to tell you one of the best words. I think it's one of the best words ever. It's powerful, it's motivating, it's an inspiring word. It's just such a great word. And here's the word, we. What a great word. We did it. We won. We succeeded. We lost. We didn't make it. We failed. You know what's so great and powerful about the word we? Is it includes all of us, every one of us. We is inclusive. And here's what I know, here's what you know, but we don't always play this out, is that we is greater than me. We is greater than me. When I win, we don't. You say, Shane, how does that play out? Well, I've been married for 35 years. And when I win an argument, we lose. Julie and I lose. That's all there is to it. And I'm pretty good at arguing. But when I win an argument, we lose. I've learned this in parenting. When I power up with one of our kids, I don't win. Me and that kid, we lose. Why? Because we is greater than me. Let's put that into your life. When you hit your quota at work, but the company doesn't, you don't win. We lose. You go, well, wait, but I got paid for that. Well, good for you. If the company doesn't make it, who's going to pay you then? See, when I win, we lose. One of the reasons that the church that Jesus started is just so brilliant is because it is all about we. Let's say it this way. The church is a we thing. Not a wee little thing, just a we thing. The church isn't an I thing. It's not a you thing. It's a we thing. So because it's a we thing and we is greater than me, our vision of where we're going has to be a we thing and not a me thing, and certainly not an I thing. You go, okay, Shane, I got it, but why does that even matter? Well, here's why that matters. Because the natural gravitational pull of every church is to turn inward. The natural gravitational pull of every single church, no matter which one you've ever gone to, is to turn inward. Everything in us just naturally pulls us towards this we thing we call the church to become about me. It's just natural for it to happen. You're not a bad person. I'm not a bad person. Churches are not filled with bad people. We're not having bad motives. It's just natural for the gravitational pull to become inward, for it to become about me. So look, so when the we thing becomes a me thing, we start looking at that we thing as a you thing. You say, what does that actually mean? Well, here's what that means. When my church becomes about me, I then want you to do whatever it needs to be done so it can continue to be about me. Because the we thing has become a me thing, so you do it so it can continue to be a me thing. So instead of an army of people moving on mission for God, the natural gravitational pull is for the army to turn inward, and when this thing becomes about me, the church loses. You lose. We lose. Instead of an army moving on mission for God, the army turns inward and begins to want the Green Berets or the cavalry to just come in and do the mission. And when that happens, we all lose. And ultimately, the Great Commission that God gave us doesn't happen. So to make sure this doesn't happen with us, with everything in us, with all that's in us, if we're going to call ourselves a follower of Jesus, and if we're going to surround ourselves in his family, the church, then to make sure that this we thing doesn't become a me thing and start expecting you to do the you thing so that I can make the me thing stay the me thing, to make sure that this doesn't happen, it means that every Jesus follower once in a while has to re-enlist. Maybe you just need to enlist. Maybe for some of you, you may need to be drafted back in to God's army called the church. And when we become the army he created us to be, then the Great Commission is accomplished and the church remains a we thing. So what is this Great Commission? And how can we stay on mission to actually accomplish it as God's army? That is what we're going to do this fall. Here's how we know what to do. Here's how we know what to do this fall. One day, Jesus gathered up his disciples one final time before he headed back to his heavenly Father. It was the last time he was going to have this conversation with them before he was gone for good. And so they're standing on the side of the mountain, and he's talking to these guys, and he gave them their marching orders. And these marching orders throughout Christianity has been known as the Great Commission. It's the Great Commission. We've been commissioned to do this, and it is a great commission. And we find this Great Commission in Jesus' final words in Matthew chapter 28. Here's what he said. He said, "So go and make followers of all people in the world. Baptize them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. And then teach them to obey what I have taught you. And I will be with you always, even until the end of this age." This is where we're going this fall. In fact, we're actually going to start that this evening. We're not even going to wait until next week. We're going to start that this evening because this is the direction of our church when we baptize people tonight. In fact, we have over 30 people to baptize tonight in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. There are 3 people really excited about that. Come on, church. That's awesome, right? That is literally 1/3 of that, and we're going to do that tonight. This is what Jesus told us to do. So we're going to go and do this. It's what we're going to do. And can I just tell you this? What's so cool about where we're going this fall is I didn't make it up. That's what's great about this. We didn't hire a consulting firm to come in and look at our church and tell us, well, you really need to do these things. Our staff didn't get together and have a meeting. We didn't have a church gathering meeting to say, let's all talk about what we should be doing. You know why we didn't? Because this is literally what the church's commanding officer said to do. These are our marching orders. Nothing more, but certainly nothing less. This fall, I want you to remember just one word. I want to help us because I want to make it simple. I know how things happen for me. If I don't write them down in a few days, maybe a few hours, sometimes a couple of minutes, it's just gone, right? And so I thought, how can I make this easy for us to just really remember what we're going to do? Now, look, the way we do this is we help people heal from life's hurts. And every church has the freedom to be able to do this any way they want to do it, so long as we follow the marching orders. So to help us with that, what I want to do is I want to give you a word that will help keep us focused throughout this fall. It's a word you already know, but the interesting thing is the word for us is going to have 2 meanings. And we're going to do both. And this word will help us do this Great Commission together this fall. Not just a select few who are the Green Berets of the church, but as an army on mission following our commanding officer's orders. And so for the rest of our time today, I want to do 2 things. I want to tell you how we're going to do this together, and then I want to tell you what I wish we would do. So here's the word. It's a simple word. You already know it. Grow. That's our word. Can we just say that out loud wherever you are? If you're watching online, slam that into the chat in all caps, right? Can we just say it together, right? Here we go. Grow. How about that, Liberty Hill? You want to say it with me? Can we all do it together? Here we go. Grow. Can't forget grow. And there's two meanings that I want you to get out of this. The first meaning is, so go and make followers. To do the Great Commission, listen, RockPointe Church, we have to keep growing numerically with people who are deciding to follow Jesus or considering following Jesus. This means more and more people must begin to follow Jesus. So go and make followers. Here's the second meaning for us. Teach them to obey what I have taught you. This is what Jesus told his first army, is go teach them the things that I've told you. To do the Great Commission, we've got to also keep growing spiritually. That means every follower of Jesus must be learning to live out Jesus' teachings. And so we're going to focus on two parts of the Great Commission this fall. And as I mentioned tonight at 5 p.m. out at River Ranch, we're going to do the third part, and we're going to baptize these people who over the last few months have decided to follow Jesus. And look, if that's you and you're like, I've been following along and I've been asking questions and things are starting to change in my life, and I believe Jesus is who he says he is and did what he said he's going to do, your next step is actually baptism. And if you've never been baptized as a consenting adult, look, tonight it would be our honor to step into that place in your life with you and help you take your next step of following Jesus. So catch one of our staff. Come at 5 o'clock tonight. We'll get you registered. We'll talk to you. And that's the key, is your next step. When you say, I want to follow Jesus, your next step is baptism. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to spend a few minutes telling you what exactly we are going to do with this. So starting next weekend for us is going to be a back-to-school Sunday. And we're going to start a brand new series called Family. And you say, why are we going to talk about that? Because everybody has one, right? And family can make you or family can break you. So we want to grow numerically. We want to help people right where they are. We aren't experts on family, but we know some, and we've got some advice that we would like to offer because everyone has a family. And so it's the perfect opportunity for us to talk about whether you have a family that you stay disconnected from or whether you have a family that you live in the same house with. The fact is we've all got them. And so again, why would we talk about this? Because all of us can relate to that. Every one of us. It is something we all have in common, and it's something we can all invite someone to. And why would we do that? Because we want to grow. We want to go and make followers like Jesus told us to. And so as a church, we've said for years, we will do anything short of sin to bring people to Jesus. And so we want to do everything we possibly can. And so to grow, listen, we have to go. You can't just sit in the church and hope people show up. To grow numerically and to make followers, we have to engage in the life of people. And we're going to give you some tools to help you be the army and invite people to come sit with you starting next week. So let me just say it this way. You and I are the boots on the ground. The tools we're going to give you are simply air support. And neither really works real well without the other. But when you put the two together, let me just tell you, there's something magical that happens. When Jesus' followers decide to come together and to go and make followers, and the church as a whole brings in the air support, and we are boots on the ground as God's army. And then during this series, we're going to do a few things during this series. There's a baby dedication that's going to happen in this series for young parents or new parents. There's some family gatherings where we can just get together. We're going to lean into and have a good time. We've got a day camp coming up for kids on some time they have off of school, and there's the registration for that's going to open during this series. But why are we planning all these things? Why can't we just come to church? Because we want to grow. Why? So that we can go and make followers. So the first half of the fall is grow in number. And for that to happen, it's going to take all of us. We want to grow. It's going to take our entire church to enlist for that to happen. So the first half of this fall, we want to grow numerically. We want to go and make followers. Now, the second half of the fall is we want to grow, but we want to grow in our faith following Jesus. So on October the 1st, we're going to start what we have called in the past a spiritual growth campaign, our yearly fall series, with this series called Right and Wrong. We're going to talk about, because we want to grow spiritually. And look, every year in the fall for 21 years, we focused our attention on growing in our faith in a really big way. We want to teach the things that Jesus has taught us. And so this year, we're actually going to look at the topic of integrity as a Jesus follower, because that seems to have broken down in a big way in our world, and it can't break down among Jesus followers. And look, we all know the difference between right or wrong, or we thought we did. But these days, right and wrong are a bit fluid. But let me just tell you, as a Jesus follower, your personal integrity always impacts another person. And so a fall series, this fall spiritual growth series, is when our entire church comes together around one central theme for our kids, our students, and every adult. And we focus on growing through gathering in groups to discuss and care for each other, and personal times with God, and directed in those, and then doing a mission project to impact our community around us, and literally practicing the things that Jesus taught us as we go out and love people. Why? Why would we do this? Because we want to grow spiritually this fall. So look, this is where we're going over the next couple of months, next few months. And can I just tell you why? Because Jesus said, go and make followers of all people in the world and baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And then it is our job to teach them to obey what he taught us. And he says, when you go do this, it may be scary, but just know I am with you always as you do these marching orders. So look, RockPointe Church, I want to invite you to enlist in that mission as a church. You know, maybe you used to do some of this stuff, but like you don't do it anymore. Okay, let's go from there. Let me invite you to re-enlist. Let me invite you to get out your boots, your marching boots. Let me invite you to get what you need to go forward, and let's go forward together. And then let me just say, if you don't consider yourself a Jesus follower, I want to invite you to come along too. Because the stuff that we're going to be doing, look, it doesn't just help you grow spiritually, it actually makes your life better. And the truth is, it makes you better at life when you do it. So look, it's simple. It's simple. It's one word. It's the word grow with two meanings. And we're going to start with the numerical, and we're going to move to the spiritual. So that's the vision for us this fall. That is the mission Jesus gave us. And look, I'm excited to get started on that tonight with baptism. And then next Sunday, as we launch this first grow effort with a back to school Sunday, and we launch this series on family. Now, part of a day like today is also making sure you're in the know on a few things. So there's something I also want you to know, and then I want to give you a wish list. So something I want you to know is on our 20th anniversary, I stood in front of you and I announced a 5x25 plan, which is 5 campuses by the time we turn 25 years old. And we have been moving forward with that and making plans with that. And so we had planned to launch our Lago Vista campus in September of this year. But what has happened is we've come up on something where we felt like there was great benefit for us to push pause on Lago Vista for a few months And we have engaged with John Evans, who is our campus pastor and lives there and is going to be our campus pastor out there. And we have engaged him with some new people who have done way more of this than we have. And we're excited about what he's learning and where he's going and what we're learning as a church. And it seemed like the most logical thing for us to do to say, you know what, there's something for us to gain by pushing the pause button for a few months. So we decided that we will push the pause button and we will be coming in 2024. And those couple of times that we're looking at in 2024 is, I'll just tell you, a possibility of January, a possibility of Easter, or a possibility of September. And all three have pros and cons to those when you're launching something. But I just wanted you to know that if you get on the website or if somebody asks, hey, when is that happening? I want you to know that those are the things we're wrestling through right now, and that our 5x25 is moving forward, and we want to do it the best we can. And we decided we would stop to learn a few things we felt like we needed to know before we tried to add 3, 4, and 5. So we look at this as a big positive because there's a lot to gain by what we're doing at this point. So I wanted you to know that because that's just something as a church family that we get asked once in a while, and I just wanted you to know what that is. Now look, I've told you what Jesus said. I told you that he wants us to be his army. And you know, what's interesting to me is it's kind of like, I always assume if somebody shows up like you do, that somebody jumps online and they're doing it consistently. I just always kind of assume that if somebody shows up, that they want somebody to shoot straight with them, right? Now, if I'm wrong about that, well, I'll just be wrong about that. But I just assume that you want to know the truth, and so I try to just boldly tell you the truth, and then we'll work through whatever that is. And so that's kind of who I am. It's kind of who our church is a little bit. So we just like to be honest about these things. So today, I'd like to wrap up our time. And I'd like to just be as authentic as I know how to be as a pastor. But I'd like you to see past that if you can. That's why I tried not to wear my pastor dress today. I put on this dress instead. I just like to be as authentic as I possibly can for you. And I'd like to wrap up today with just having an authentic heart-to-heart conversation with you. So as your pastor and your friend, I want you to know I want this for you, what we're about to talk about. In fact, I think about this a lot. And again, this is my job to think about this stuff, right? I know you're busy, you're about to get kids in school, and you got jobs and families you're raising. I get it that you don't have time to think about all this. So, but I do. I think about this kind of stuff. And so, anytime I talk about it, I'm going to pull this around a little bit. Anytime I talk to you, I just want to be authentic. So here's what I want to say to you to kick us off this. I want you to know, I love all the cool tech stuff we do. I love all the slick screens. There's a couple that I wish we had because I just love all that stuff. I love great sound and, when all those musicians get on that and everything just works. But can I just tell you that it's all a facade if we're not going to do the Great Commission? It's just a show. And I don't want to be a part of a show. I don't want to be a dog and pony show. I'm not interested in that. And I kind of think that that's why you come here. It's because that's not what you want either. And I love all this stuff. But it's all a facade if we're not doing the Great Commission. So anytime we talk about doing this, what happens is it's kind of easy to get excited and go, yes, that's what Jesus said. That's what I want to do. And get on mission. And then once you're like, I'm in. I'm going to do this. I'm going forward. It's going to be a great fall. And then you kind of wonder, yeah, this is so cool, but what do I actually do? Like I walked out of here and thought, man, that's great. I'm glad we're on mission, but what do I actually do? So in our last moments today, I just want to tell you honestly, as I know how, what I wish each of you would be doing consistently. And here's how I want to preface that. What I'm about to say is not God. We already talked about what he said. This is Shane. This is the dude. This is the man. This is the husband, the father, the pastor, all right? So I want you to separate those two things. I don't want you to take what I'm about to say as that these are orders from God. They're not. It's just a wish list from your pastor, is all this is. And the reason I have a wish list is because I want this for you. Each one of these things could make a huge difference. A huge difference. Recently, we had somebody at our church that is from a different state, and they were here, and I knew them, and they came in, and afterwards I asked them, so like, hey, and this guy had started a couple of churches. He works with churches all the time, and he's a friend, and I just said, hey, he had never been here before. And he said, and I said, tell me what you thought. Like, I want gut level. Don't play any games with me. I know you know church. You're like me. When I walk into a different church, man, like I'm assessing everything, right? Like, oh my gosh, okay, you're doing that. That's cool. Why in the world? You guys should never meet again. I mean, all kinds of stuff, right? That's just the nature of what I do. And so I knew he was doing the same thing. In fact, he wandered around all over and sat in our services and all this stuff. And so I said, man, tell me what you really thought. Because I want to know, like, assess us. Tell me what we're doing well. Tell me where we're really screwing up. And he said, listen, here's what he said. He said, let me tell it this way. He said, don't change the culture of your church one bit. He said, now there's some things I'll tell you that you could do better, but don't change the culture. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, let me tell you what I mean. He said, I saw two different guys that I saw in your church described your church perfectly to me. And I thought, man, I wished all churches did this. He said, I saw a guy that in my head, he said, I don't know anybody, but I saw this dude that I thought he could probably write a check to change the course of this church. He said, I just made that assumption by looking at him. He said, and then I saw another guy, and I think he was homeless. and he said, don't ever change that. He said that's the most beautiful part of a church when there's that type of diversity in the church. He said, you don't change the culture of your church. And that's so much on you because you've created this culture here that just allows people to come and be a part. And I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. Anytime I'm somewhere else, I'm just so grateful. And I try to learn everywhere, but I am so grateful for you. And so each of these things that I want to share with you as a wish list, they're just a wish list. I love this place. So they could make a huge difference in church in this thing, just ensuring, look at this, ensuring that Jesus we thing is not a me thing, and that it certainly doesn't become a you thing. And so look, I don't want our army to look at me, and I don't want our army to look at our staff as a Green Beret. We are an army together. We do this together. And so here are some things that I wish for everyone who calls RockPointe home. And I wish you would do these, and I wish you would just do them consistently. In fact, you can write them down if you want to, but I'm going to give you this as you leave today, and I ask them to put the wish list on here for you. So you've got it. So here it is. Here's number one. The first thing I wish you would do is I wish that you would check in on social media every Sunday when you walk in here. Like just open up your phone and say, I'm at RockPointe Church. Check in. You have no idea what that does. Now, look, if you're hiding, I get it. If the police are looking for you, I totally get it. You're still welcome here, right? We want you, right? And if you need to park your car around the back, come on, we'll help you do that, right? If you've got friends that you would not want them to know you are here, I totally understand that, man. I just get it. But for all of you that's not the case in your life, it's just a wish. I wish every Sunday when you walked in here, every time you're here, you would check in at RockPointe Church. It just makes a huge difference. Not just for what people see, but it also sets something up for you that I'm going to talk about in a minute as well. Here's something else I wish you would do. Second thing on my wish list is I wish you would post how God is using this church to help you be better at life. And look, and when I say that, I wrote that on purpose. How God, not how RockPointe is making you better at life. RockPointe's not going to do that, but God can. And God uses churches to do that. Once in a while I'll see somebody and they'll take a picture of the screen or they'll take a picture of the person up here and they'll say something about that. And I just wish that you would share what is God's doing in you when you do that. Yeah, I'm going to give you the next one real quick, and then I want to tell you a quick little story. Here's the other one. I wish that you would invite people every week to come sit with you. I wish that was just consistent. I wish you would start this weekend going, all right, I got 7 days. Who am I going to invite to come sit with me? Who am I going to ask again? And again, we're going to give you some tools with that today to actually do that. So these two things, right? Like inviting people to come, and then talking about how God has used this place to help you. So in all authenticity, every pastor that I know needs recovery, all right? I'll just be the first one to tell you that. And the reason is because I know that. I am one, and I do, and I have. So I spent 3 years in a recovery program for a lot of broken things in my life, a lot of things that I needed to work through. And I spent 2 years consistently every Thursday night doing that for me, and then I decided to stay and go one more year because I could learn some more, but I also wanted to give back for what I had been given. And so I spent 3 years in this recovery program, just working through some hurts in my life and some things I needed to deal with that were out of control. And my first night I went, the first night, I come home and I walk into the house and I sat down in the chair, and Julie said, she's over on the couch, she said, so how'd it go? And I said, you know, it went really well. I think this could really benefit you too. That did not go well. In other words, it went great for me, but you're really screwed up and you should come with me. You've got some things that are really messed up, and now I can see them. It's a wonder we've stayed married for 35 years. I went back the next week, and they said, well, how'd your week go? And I said, it didn't go well. And they said, well, why not? And I told them what I said. And they all just sat across the table shaking their head at me. I learned something that night. An old dude across the table looked across at me, and he said a few other words in there that, just for the sake of where we are and who you are and who I am, I won't say. But he looked at me, and he pointed his finger right at me, and he said, what your wife does isn't any of your business. And I didn't believe him, and that didn't sound right, and I argued with him a little bit, but in the end, he was right. I was there to work on me. And so when I tell you, I wish you would post something that you're learning. When I tell you, I wish you would invite people every week to come sit with you. Please learn the lesson from the guy who screwed it up coming home that night. That I'm not asking you to walk to your neighbor and go, I've been going to this church and it's really helped me and I've been watching you and you should probably come. You understand the difference, right? You want something for someone, but not because you can see they need it, but simply because of what it's done for you. And when you begin to invite people to come and sit with you because of what's changed in your life, something changes. Let me move on. Some of you are doing this already. You know what I wish? This is my wish list. Yeah, I've jumped up and down on this. I wish you would all sit up front. I wish we only had a front row, right? I do. I wish you would all sit up front. Those of you in the front row, thank you. Thanks for being in the front row. I appreciate y'all. I mean, I've given away gifts. I've danced up and down. I've done all kinds of stuff, right? And here's the reason why. Here's why. I wish you would sit up front because the energy changes in the room when you guys are up front. That's all there is to it. And those of you who are sitting in the back, look, I love the back too. I totally get it. I'm an introvert by nature, and man, I want the back row every single time, right? I totally get that. And so, like, for those of you who are not, I wish you would just fill these up. It's okay. Come forward and sit up front. It's just a wish, right? It's just a wish. That's not God. That's just shame, right? It just changes the game. It changes the game. You know what else it does? It leaves seats open for people who do want to come in and just like, I'm not sure I'm here, and they're not going to sit on the front row. And you leave some seats open back there for them. They can come in and check it out. It's just a wish. Here's another one. When you're watching online, and I know we all do sometimes, I wish you would comment online. Say things online. Just comment. Pound something out in the chat. I don't know what it is. Just say something, right? Talk on there if you're online. For those of you online, come on, man, put something in the chat, right? That helps a lot. Here's the other thing. When you walk into one of our campuses, I wish you would consider yourself a part of the greeting team. I just wish you were a part of that. I wish you just thought, okay, I'm the greeting team. I gotta stand in a way and posture myself in the lobby or outside to where I got my back to the wall and I could talk to everybody. I can say hello to people. I can meet somebody. I wish you just considered yourself a part of the greeting team if you went to church here. It's just a wish. Here's another thing. I wish you would get your kids and students in the right environment. I wish you would make sure your kids are in these environments for them on Sunday. I wish you'd have your students in the environments on Wednesday night. In fact, our student ministry is getting ready to launch a week from Wednesday. They're everything for the fall for them. And I wish you would make sure your kid got in school this week and started planning with them for a week from Wednesday that they would be at that launch and make that consistent for them through this fall. And they'll fight you, and it may be one of the best things you've ever done for them. Here's another one that's a big one for me. I wish our kids leaders would come and find me and ask me to stop sending them volunteers. I wish they would come and find me and say, Shane, you've sent me so many volunteers, I don't know what to do with them all. I wish we would all take turns serving the next generation. Here's another one. Be in a small group. Get into a group of friends. You say, why? Well, you already know this is because circles are better than rows. I mean, you know this. You learned that in high school because you would sit in a row in your class, and then as soon as class was over, what would you do? You would go find your friends and circle up with your friends. Why? Because you knew that was better than that. I mean, we've known this for a long time. Look, groups are important to us. Groups are essential for you. In a circle is where Jesus' teachings actually intersect with our lives. And I wish you were in a group and you were consistent, and then when you were there, you were authentic. Because when you go to a group consistently and you're authentic when you're there, what you find is the community you're really looking for. And then I've got a final one, and I'm only going to talk to 10% of you. And I know that. I wish that 10% of you would lead a group. Consistently, we don't have enough group leaders to incorporate everybody into groups in our church. And we ask everybody to get in one, and then we don't have enough groups for them. And it would take 10% of you in order to fix that. And I wish 10% of you would do that. So today, I've asked you to remember a word. Do you remember what it is all together? It's grow. You got it. It's two ways. We're going to grow numerically. We're going to grow spiritually. And I've got one more ask, and I'm going to send you out with this wish list, but I've got one more ask for that 10%. Because we're getting ready to begin to launch groups, not only for the fall, but also for our growth series as well, our spiritual growth series. We're going to need a lot of groups. And so if you've thought, man, I might could do that, or I'm willing, or I could open up my home, or we like having people over, and you're willing to let us train you how to do that, so here's my ask, and I know I'm only talking to 10% of you. I'm going to ask you that when we close today, that you stay right in here and walk right up front as everybody else leaves. And we're going to have a staff member ready to talk to you and just say, hey, let me give you the information and let's move forward. If you just want to ask some questions, that's okay too. Just staying and walking up to the front doesn't commit you, right? But 10%. If 10% of you did this. So look, it's just a wish list. It's not God, it's Shane. But there's a reason for them. All of those things I just gave you sets you up and sets we up to do the Great Commission. So I'm not asking you to do anything or to grab onto something outside of the realm. This is just a way we could do the Great Commission, and you could be on mission every single day with these things. And isn't that what your marching orders and my marching orders are? Is be on mission every single day. So this fall, we're going to grow. But we've got to grow together so that this beautiful we thing that God created called the church doesn't turn into a me thing. Because when it does, this me thing starts looking at the Green Berets, the staff, the pastor, the leaders, and going, you should do that so that we can. And we don't want to mess up this we thing by creating a me thing and start calling it a you thing. So let's take our marching orders serious. And let's have a fall like maybe we haven't had in this church in a long time. And so I invite you to be on mission, to get your boots on, get your uniform out, and re-enlist, and take the wish list as you go, and start working down it. And I believe that when a church, any church, gets on mission with his mission, that God says, there's a church I can put a whole bunch of new baby Christians in, a bunch of new followers in, and I think God begins to help people come. And then we grow. So let's do this together. And I know we can. Let me pray for us. Father, thank you for today. Thank you for the mission that you've given us, this great commission. I pray that you would help us to follow it out in every single way possible. And we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
On this. If you're visiting with us or you're checking things out, this is a way for you to let us know that you were with us this morning. There's a spot here for next steps. Just you scan on that, go through each of those, and that lets us know where you're at and how we can help you take that next step. And then the last one here, again, helping people heal from life's hurts. That's our mission, and giving is essential to mobilizing our mission here in our church. And it's through your generosity that makes all this happen. And so right here, this QR code makes it real easy for you to do that. We've even got boxes at the tables in the back where you can do that. If you want to write a check or give some cash, you can put those in the boxes along with these cards on your way out. Well, we have a lot coming up, and so we communicate a couple of ways. We send out an email Friday or over the weekend. Check that out, read that email. That keeps you in the loop. Also, you hear things from the stage with people like me or even from Shane. But I want to invite everybody to get your phones out because we've got a couple of key words, and this is a really easy, efficient way for us to get information to you throughout this fall series. For adults, for those of you who have students, or if you are a student in the room, for you to get information through RPY, and then for our kids. And so the phone number is 512-710-2323. And you can put in RPC for the adults, RPY for the students, and RPK for the kids. Shoot out 3 different keyword texts to subscribe or to get those text messages throughout the week. And it's really cool because kicking this thing off, our kids ministry, going back to school, are going to be doing a 10-day devotional. They've been our children's pastors, Taylor and Taylor, our 2 Taylors, Taylor Hendricks and Taylor Salazar. They've worked really hard to think about your kid in mind as they're getting ready to get back in that environment in school and where they're at. We know it's a big deal for parents and really for the kid. And so this creates great conversation, great ways for you to lead your children spiritually, but also just come alongside them and encourage them and just be with them. So if you're a parent, we're going to start sending those out tomorrow through RPK, and be on the lookout for that. Go through that with your kids. It's going to be great for them. It's going to be great for you. Finally, man, we're so excited. We've got baptisms this evening out at the River Ranch, the old Blue Hole out in Liberty Hill. It's the River Ranch, okay? And man, we're going to have a barbecue out there. We've got more than 32 people registered to be baptized. It's going to be a celebration. It's going to be a party. And man, come out. Bring a lawn chair with you. And come eat some food with us and come cheer those on who have made that decision to follow Jesus and share that with everyone out there, with their friends and their family. And hey, also, if you have made that decision to follow Jesus and you've not yet been baptized, then come talk to me. Come talk to one of our staff after service. Let's do this thing. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. So, hey, we got a big fall coming up. We want to invite you back next Sunday. And thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you then. Y'all have a good one.
It's 3.2 from the driveway of my house to your apartment where I am waiting now. Come on, don't think night's young. Let's go. NYC, Portland, Austin, Anaheim. Maybe not Anaheim. Keep an open mind. I'm just saying, baby, let's go. I don't care. Anywhere. Like a river connects to the ocean, this pavement touches wherever we go. And white lines flying by, who knows what we'll find. You and me tonight. Drive. Let's drive. When's the last time we dropped our things and went? Woke up somewhere that we've both never been. Growing up doesn't mean getting older. Maybe it's just left turns off familiar streets. I just wanna come back with a memory. Growing up doesn't mean getting older. I don't care. Anywhere. Like a river connects to the ocean, this pavement touches wherever we go. And white lines flying by, who knows what we'll find. You and me tonight. Let's drive. Let's drive. Remember when we were young and free, oh, the way it used to be. Tell me, can we go back? It's 3.2 from the driveway